Before anyone ever asked who you truly were, the world began telling you who you should become. Be successful. Be strong. Don't cry. Don't fail. Make people proud. Fit in. Smile, even when your heart feels heavy. Those voices arrived long before you understood your own. Little by little, you stopped asking yourself who you wanted to become. Instead, you began shaping your life around the expectations of everyone else. No child is born wearing a mask. Children laugh without worrying who is watching. They cry without apologizing. They dream without asking permission. They don't measure their worth through money, titles, or approval. They simply exist as themselves. But life has a way of changing that innocence. Every criticism, every rejection, and every painful experience slowly teaches us that being ourselves might not always be safe. Perhaps someone laughed at your dream. Maybe a teacher compared you with someone else. Maybe you were told you were too quiet, too emotional, too different, or simply not enough. Those words may have lasted only seconds, but they stayed in your mind for years. Without realizing it, you began hiding the parts of yourself that once felt natural. The first layer of the mask was quietly placed upon your face. At first, the mask felt useful. You smiled when you wanted to cry. You agreed when your heart wanted to disagree. You stayed silent because speaking your truth felt dangerous. You became the version of yourself that seemed easiest for others to accept. Every time the mask protected you from rejection, it became stronger. Every time you ignored your own voice, the real you became a little quieter. The strange thing about pretending is that people often reward it. They compliment the confident version of you. They celebrate your achievements. They admire your strength, but deep inside, something feels empty. Every compliment belongs to the character you created, not the person hiding beneath it. Slowly, a painful question begins to grow inside your mind. If they knew the real me, would they still stay? That question follows many people throughout their entire lives. They become experts at performing. They know exactly what to say, how to act, and what others expect from them. Yet every performance requires energy. Every smile that hides pain becomes another burden to carry. The heavier the mask becomes, the harder it is to remember the face that once existed beneath it. One day, you wake up and realize something feels different. You have responsibilities, achievements, and people who know your name. Yet an emptiness remains that success cannot explain. You look around at the life you built and quietly wonder whether it was built for you or for everyone else's expectations. That single question begins to shake the foundation of everything you believed about yourself. The greatest tragedy is not living a difficult life. The greatest tragedy is living a life that never truly belonged to you. Every decision made only to satisfy others slowly pulls you further away from your authentic self. Years pass, dreams fade, passions disappear. One morning, you look into the mirror and realize you recognize the face, but you no longer recognize the person. The mirror never lies. It reflects more than your appearance. It reflects the weight you carry, the exhaustion behind your eyes, and the quiet longing to live without pretending. Deep inside, a voice still exists. It has never disappeared. It has simply been buried beneath years of fear, approval, and expectations. That voice is patient. It waits for the day you finally choose to listen. The hardest part about wearing a mask is not putting it on. The hardest part is forgetting that you are wearing one at all. After enough years, pretending begins to feel normal. The false version of yourself becomes familiar, while the real you slowly fades into the background. But every mask eventually cracks, and sometimes that crack is not the end of your story. It is the first glimpse of freedom. Every mask has an expiration date. You may wear it for months, years, or even decades, but life has a way of exposing what is false. A painful loss, a broken relationship, a failed dream, or a quiet moment alone can shake the identity you've worked so hard to protect. Suddenly, the version of yourself that once felt unbreakable begins to crack. And for the first time, you can no longer hide from the person beneath it. Many people spend their lives chasing approval without ever questioning why. They work harder, smile wider, and sacrifice pieces of themselves just to hear someone say, "I'm proud of you." At first, that approval feels rewarding, but eventually it becomes a prison. You wake each morning wondering whether the life you're living is truly yours or simply a performance created to keep everyone else comfortable. One of the greatest tragedies is succeeding at a life you never wanted. Imagine reaching every goal you set, only to discover those goals belong to someone else's expectations. You climb the mountain, but the view brings no peace. You collected applause, but your heart remains silent. Success without authenticity is like wearing a beautiful mask over an empty soul. It impresses the world while quietly breaking the person inside. There comes a moment when the noise finally fades. No notifications, no applause, no distractions, just you and your thoughts. It is in that silence that the truth begins to speak. The dreams you abandoned return to your memory. The passions you buried begin to stir. The child you once were gently asks a question you have avoided for years. Why did you stop believing in me? That question echoes through your soul. The hardest conversations you will ever have are not with other people. They are with yourself. Admitting that you've been pretending takes courage. Admitting that you're unhappy despite appearing successful takes honesty. Admitting that you've been living for approval instead of purpose can feel overwhelming. But truth has never arrived to destroy you. It arrives to set you free from the life that no longer belongs to you. When the mask begins to fall away, fear often grows louder. It whispers that people will reject you, judge you, or walk away. Sometimes that fear becomes reality. Not everyone will understand the new path you choose. Some people were comfortable with the version of you that never challenged them. They loved the performance because it asked nothing of them. Authenticity will always reveal who truly belongs beside you. Losing people is painful, but losing yourself is far worse. For years, you may have carried the weight of expectations that were never yours to carry. You became exhausted trying to satisfy everyone except the one person who needed your love the most. The moment you begin choosing honesty over approval, something extraordinary happens. You breathe a little deeper. You walk a little lighter. You begin feeling alive again. Healing is rarely loud. It does not happen in a single breakthrough or dramatic moment. It happens quietly. One honest conversation. One boundary you finally establish. One dream you decide to revisit. One morning you choose peace instead of pretending. These small acts may seem insignificant, yet they become the foundation of an entirely different life. Transformation begins with truth, not perfection. You are not here to become the person everyone expects. You are here to become the person your soul has been trying to awaken all along. Your greatest purpose cannot be discovered while hiding behind fear. The world does not need another perfect performance. It needs people who have the courage to live honestly, love deeply, and stand confidently without hiding behind a mask they no longer need. As the mask continues to break, light begins reaching places that have remained hidden for years. It feels unfamiliar because freedom often does. You are no longer becoming someone new. You are remembering the person you were before fear, before comparison, before the world convinced you that your value depended on approval. And sometimes, remembering who you are is the greatest victory you will ever achieve. There comes a moment in every life when pretending becomes more painful than telling the truth. You wake up one ordinary morning and realize you can no longer carry the weight of being someone you are not. The mask that once protected you has become too heavy to wear. It no longer gives you safety. It steals your peace. And for the first time, you begin to understand that freedom will require courage, not perfection. Removing the mask is frightening because it feels like stepping into the unknown. You wonder who will remain beside you. You wonder if people will accept the person hidden beneath years of pretending. Fear tells you that authenticity is dangerous, but fear has always confused comfort with safety. The greatest danger was never becoming your true self. The greatest danger was spending an entire lifetime hiding from it. Not everyone will understand your transformation. Some people became comfortable with the version of you that never challenged them. They preferred the smile that concealed your pain because it allowed them to remain comfortable as well. When you begin living honestly, some relationships will quietly fade away. Do not mistake that loss for failure. Sometimes people leave because they were connected to your mask, not your heart. But something beautiful happens when you stop performing. The people who truly belong in your life begin to see you clearly. Conversations become deeper. Laughter becomes more genuine. Silence no longer feels uncomfortable because you no longer feel the need to impress anyone. Real connection has never been built through perfection. It is built through honesty, vulnerability, and the courage to let another person see your scars without hiding them. Perhaps the hardest person to forgive is yourself. You remember the years spent chasing approval, ignoring your dreams, and becoming everything except who you truly were. Regret may whisper that you wasted too much time. Do not believe it. Every mistake became a lesson. Every disappointment shaped your wisdom. Every painful chapter prepared you for this moment. The past was never your prison. It was your teacher. Healing begins the moment you stop fighting against the person you see in the mirror. Instead of asking why you were not stronger, kinder, or braver, ask yourself a different question. What can I become from this day forward? The future has never demanded perfection. It only asks for your willingness to keep moving. Every sunrise offers another opportunity to become a little more honest than you were yesterday. The world often celebrates people who appear fearless. Yet the strongest individuals are rarely those without fear. They are the ones who continue walking despite it. Authenticity requires a different kind of courage. It asks you to stand in front of the world without hiding behind titles, achievements, or expectations. It asks you to believe that your worth has always existed, even when nobody else could see it. Imagine living one day without pretending, speaking with honesty instead of rehearsed answers, laughing because you genuinely feel joy, resting without guilt, chasing dreams that belong to your heart instead of someone else's approval. That life is not reserved for extraordinary people. It begins with one extraordinary decision: the decision to remove the mask and never allow fear to place it back upon your face again. One day, you will look back on this season of your life with gratitude, not because it was easy, but because it finally awakened you. You will realize that the greatest victory was never earning applause or proving yourself to the world. It was finding the courage to become someone you no longer needed to hide. That quiet victory will be worth more than every empty compliment you ever received. There will still be difficult days, moments when doubt returns, times when the old mask calls your name because pretending feels easier than standing in truth. Those moments do not mean you have failed. They simply remind you that growth is a lifelong journey. Each time you choose honesty instead of fear, the mask grows weaker. Each time you choose yourself, your spirit grows stronger. The mirror you once feared has become something different. It no longer reflects the person the world expected you to be. It reflects someone still learning, still growing, still healing, but finally living with integrity. For the first time in years, you recognize the eyes looking back at you. They are not perfect. They are real. And that reality is more powerful than perfection could ever be. If you have listened until this moment, remember this: you were never born to spend your life performing for acceptance. You were created to live with purpose, to love with honesty, and to walk with quiet confidence. The world may remember your achievements, but your soul will remember whether you lived as your true self. That choice begins today, and it begins with removing the mask forever. One day, someone will ask you when your life truly began to change. They may expect you to speak about success, money, a promotion, or the moment everything finally worked in your favor. But you will smile because you know the truth. Your life did not change because the world suddenly became kinder. It changed because you stopped waiting for permission to become yourself. The greatest transformation began the moment you chose honesty over approval. You realized that the life you were searching for had never been waiting somewhere in the future. It had always been hidden beneath the layers of fear, expectations, and endless pretending. The mask was never your identity. It was only your protection. And once you found the courage to remove it, you discovered something extraordinary. The person you had spent your entire life searching for was never lost. They had been waiting patiently inside you all along. The world may remember your achievements, your titles, and the success you create. But your soul will remember something far greater. It will remember whether you lived with courage, whether you loved without pretending, and whether you stayed true to the person you were created to become. Long after applause has faded and recognition has disappeared, your greatest victory will always be this: you finally lived as yourself, and that changed everything. Every great life is forged long before the world ever notices it. It is built in quiet mornings, difficult decisions, honest conversations, and invisible battles that nobody else will ever see. Character is not created in moments of comfort. It is shaped every time you choose truth over fear, discipline over excuses, and authenticity over approval. Those ordinary moments quietly become the extraordinary story of your life. Thank you for spending these moments with the Inner Forge. If this chapter challenged the way you see yourself, don't let the journey end here. Share it with someone who may still be hiding behind a mask they no longer need to wear. Together, we continue building stronger minds, stronger character, and stronger lives. Every chapter is another step toward becoming the person you were always meant to be. This is not the end of your journey. It is only another chapter in the story you are writing every single day. Tomorrow will offer another decision, another challenge, and another opportunity to choose courage over comfort. Continue walking forward with honesty, purpose, and quiet confidence. Until we meet again. Keep forging. Your story isn't finished. What if the greatest obstacle in your life is not fear, failure, or even the opinions of others? What if the real obstacle is the story you keep telling yourself every single day? The words you repeat in silence become the beliefs you carry, and those beliefs quietly shape the direction of your entire life. Before you can change your future, you must first change the story that lives inside your mind. In the next chapter of Master of My Thoughts, we explore the invisible narratives that control our choices, limit our potential, and define the person we believe ourselves to be. Because every story can be rewritten, and every life can take a new direction when one belief begins to change. Join us for Chapter 5, the story you keep telling yourself. Your next breakthrough may begin with a single thought.